Blessed are you poor, the preacher says. That means you, driving a 20-year-old gray Chevy, dented and scratched. The reign of God is yours. And woe to you who are rich, taking delivery of a fully equipped Acura, for you are receiving your consolation. Blessed are you who hunger now. Ashamed that your kid qualifies for free lunch and comes home on Fridays with food shelf groceries that somebody quietly put in his backpack. And woe to you who are satisfied, pushing back from the table and thinking about how nice it will be to have leftovers for breakfast. Blessed are you who weep now, even though it's been months since he died, and your friends are starting to wonder if you're depressed because you are depressed. And you need to be able to tell your friends all about it without fearing their impatience at your slow recovery. Blessed are you who weep now, because in an hour you will laugh so loud and hug that dear friend with such surprising fierceness. Jesus' most famous sermon, usually called the Sermon on the Mount, starts with this bullet list of either-ors. Blessed versus woe. In the first column are all kinds of people who suffer, some of them victims of illness or bad luck, or maybe they just chose the wrong parents. And some of them, just a few weeks in following Jesus, are already suffering because maybe they chose the wrong rabbi. Too controversial, kind of a troublemaker. In the second column over here are all kinds of people who are doing fine. They're rich, they're well-fed, they're in good health, and they're in a good mood. It's like Jesus' PowerPoint seems like it has the wrong column headings. These folks are the blessed ones. It's obvious. They're living right. It's not luck, it's karma. God is blessing them for their faithfulness. Ask any televangelist and send him money so he can keep praying for your prosperity. The first column over there should say, too bad that you're poor. We pity that you're hungry. We're so sorry that you're sick. We dread having people hate us. Yeah. In other words, what we really want is to not be in column one. Column one, it's not hard to understand how people end up there. And it's great that God blesses all those unfortunate people. We will definitely contribute to the food drive. We will pray for the victims of fire in California. We'll even go to a protest march every once in a while, and we'll make donations to an NGO. And we'll even increase our church pledge. Column one, it's kind of like Sunday morning. It's column two that makes us think, whoa, Rex, what are you reading? This is supposed to be good news. It's the woes that mess with our heads. It's worth noting that St. Matthew doesn't even include them in his version of the Sermon on the Mount, which, by the way, is much longer. But we've got St. Luke's version this morning, and Luke remembers the woes very well. They are, after all, the flip side of the blesseds, right? The opposite. Poor versus rich, hungry versus satisfied. People hate you, people speak well of you. I'm not so sure, however, that they're supposed to be opposites, exactly. At first you imagine Jesus' PowerPoint like I've been drawing it here in the air with two columns, blessed and woe, sad and glad, unlucky and lucky, maybe even saints and sinners? No, not saints and sinners. The reviled folks in column one aren't any more sinners than the popular ones in column two. And saints? From the earliest days of the church, everybody called everybody saints. Good morning, saints, they would say. Now, Jesus is not praising the poor or condemning the rich. He's not cheering for the unfortunate and hissing at the fortune. Groucho Marx once commented very wisely on this column 1 versus column 2 business. He said, "There are two kinds of people in this world. Those who divide people into two kinds and those who don't. I don't." Groucho, you will recall, is the same guy who once said he didn't want to join any club that would have him as a member. In philosophy, these either-or folks are called dualists, D-U-A-L. It's a very popular idea, and I'm sure you've already thought this, but our politics and our religion are heavily dualistic, and it's often the case, not just lately. We've got us versus them, we've got now and never, we've got with us and against us, we've got cool and stupid if you're in the 7th grade, we've got good versus evil, and our blessed Rabbi Jesus is sounding mighty dualistic with his blessings and woes. And that bothers me, because I want him to be a monist. I've been puzzling over this all week, because like Groucho, I don't want to be a dualist either. I want to be a monist, M-O-N-I-S-T, like one. That's what I want to be, a oneness person. God is one. We are all one. Our planet is one. Our planet is too tiny for division. I want to look at every contradiction and every fight and say, hey guys, wait, chill. Let's just step back and listen to each other a little bit more. We're going to find some common ground. It's not either or, I want to say, in all arguments. It's both and. Well, sometimes it's not. Unfortunately, though, when Groucho and I divide people into monists and dualists, we fail to be monists. But I really do think, not just hope, that Jesus was a monist. He was a uniter, not a divider. Oh, wait, there I go again with either or. I think I discovered my mistake in my thinking on Thursday morning. The PowerPoint I saw in my head with 2 columns is not the one that Jesus would have used. There's got to be a bumper sticker in that. The opposite of blessed is not woe, it's cursed. Jesus doesn't curse the rich or the popular or the satisfied. He just warns them. He says, look out. Things could change. Don't worship popularity. Don't think that you're any different than the weeper, the mourner, the sick person, the suddenly bankrupt. Beware. I would like to say that you're all blessed, but I'm kind of afraid of saying that to you, comfortable people, because your head's already pretty big. But of course you're blessed too. So here's another slide with one big circle and everybody's in it. Everything is in it. Some people in it are very smug about being blessed. They're very proud of that fact. They even take credit for it, and therefore are rather unlovable. But we need to find a way to love them. Others in that circle are anxious about losing their blessedness, and they need our love to help them see beyond their fears. Still, others in that circle are convinced they do not belong there. They cannot possibly be anything but cursed. They believe they've fallen out of that circle. And those are the ones that need our love the most. So Jesus is reassuring some and warning others. One big circle of beloved people, some very lovable, some not so much. The dualists in the room will want to add the word cursed on my slide. They'll come up with one of those Sharpie markers and just outside the circle there, right? Cursed, yeah. I will not join them today. Jesus warns us not to judge, lest we be judged. He says so in this very same Sermon on the Mount. He says, love even our enemies, our rivals, our accusers, our revilers. So maybe God does curse some. Maybe some curse themselves and they refuse to stay in the circle. But Jesus tells us that is none of our business. That's God's business. But meanwhile, beware. Beware all those of you who see no shadows darkening your path. Woe is not a curse. It's a caution. Do not think you are so different from the poor, from the sick, from the antagonist, as our wise Zen Episcopalian Bill Alexander reminded me a couple of Sundays ago. You are them, and they are you. What seems like either or is really, honestly, both and. There are not, therefore, two kinds of people, just one kind. And we're all blessed. But woe unto us who act like we don't need to bless or be blessed.